Hello there, fine folks. My name is Octavian, and welcome to another episode of Challenjour casts. Now, I know I said I'd be getting into more 100 casts episodes, and that really was the intention. I wanted to make this particular upload a 100 casts episode rather than the Challenjour cast one. Not that I like one series more than the other, it's just I've had a lack of 100 casts on the channel recently, and I wanted to fill that void. Problem is, the only replays I've received are in the LOL replay format, and as you saw in my last video, the endings are all chopped off. Now, last video that wasn't so much of a problem, since it got chopped off about 45 seconds before the game actually ended, and it was very, very clear which team was going to be the victor. I will not spoil it for you if you have not gone and watched it, and you're for some reason skipping ahead to this one before going back to that one, but hey, you're watching my videos, and for that I'm thankful in the first place, so good on you. But yeah, LOL replay has been having some issues with the ends of replays. It's been chopping them off, and I don't know where it's been putting them, but it's not been putting them on my recording, so I am going to be seeing if I can fix that, but for now I do want to get you your daily League of Legends shoutcast from Octavian, and so I will be doing that with a replay from lolking.net of high-level solo queue play from North America. This time going to be featuring Doublelift and Aftermoo in the bottom lane. Looks like these guys have been duo queuing quite a bit. They've showed up in 2 or 3 of my Challenjour casts recently, and since I do these daily every other day, that means they've been doing it recently. The Arcana Pulse charged up just across the minion wave. And this mid lane is somewhere that we should be talking about as well, as Aftermoo and Doublelift continue to do the Krugs. And the reason we should be talking about this mid lane is because Palion is choosing to go with a Vladimir mid lane. An interesting pickup. There's a few reasons why you don't often see Vlad mid. Now, actually, I'll start with the good points first. There are a few reasons why Vlad mid can be really, really strong. First off, he is resourceless, which is not something you can say of very many mid laners. About 2 or 3, maybe, that I can think of off the top of my head. You can see Riven mid sometimes. Zed, technically not resourceless because he does have energy costs, but closer to it than a lot of mana users. And Fabby bouncing some axes off his enemies there, as in addition to the resourcelessness, there's also the fact that you get to build some health early on Vladimir. You're not really punished for doing that. Flash forward from Palion. Actually, he's going for this kill here. He had a ton of damage on that Tides of Blood. Can he finish off the kill? We swap away because directed camera thinks there's more interesting things happening bot lane. And in the end, it looks like the Ignite was not enough to finish off, as we saw no death announcement. Palion popping into the pool of blood there, and 12 on 12 UN, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, leaps in for a gank. First of the game for him, and he'll be picking up a kill for it. So things working out in mid lane for the blue team so far. And now that I've finished talking about the great things about Vladimir mid, or at least a few of them, there are more, but I was interrupted by fights. Let's talk about 1 or 2 of the reasons why you don't see him there, and how maybe that kill might have alleviated them. First off, he's a mid-range mage. He doesn't have too many very long-range abilities. And against someone like Xerath, that can be a big deal. There's a lot of poke that comes out at a very high range from a champion like Xerath, and Vladimir has some sustain, but in the early levels, it's a very long cooldown, and it can be difficult to actually sustain up against somebody like Xerath, or a similarly long-ranged opponent, perhaps an Orianna or something like that. Which is why, one of the reasons at least, you don't often see Vladimir go mid. The other reason, he doesn't have very solid roaming. He has no CC, and while his wave clear is decent, so he can push up the wave before moving out fairly quickly, he has nothing to bring to a lane that he's ganking aside from damage. And actually, I think that's going to be one of the big problems for this blue team overall heading towards the late game. Aftermoo, of course, on Janna does have a knock-up, as well as the Monsoon to knock people away, so that's some control during a team fight. And the Absolute Zero will be helpful for zoning as well, but they just have a lot of zoning tools, really. Hemoplague, going to be good for that, as a Nunu ult could be dropped, overlaid on top of it. That would be pretty scary, and there's a lot of damage. I mean, they are not lacking in damage on blue side, especially if this is an AP Nunu in the top lane. The ulti, the Absolute Zero for an AP Nunu has, I believe, if fully channeled, a 300% scaling. It is, I think, the highest straight scaling ability in the game. I think technically Tibbers does scale higher if every bit of damage from Tibbers is used, but here comes Porpoise Deluxe ganking from the jungle, and Salmon Hawks might be in a lot of trouble here. Actually, no. He manages to escape, and 12 is off from the side here. Simon Hawks choosing to go back in for the Ice Blast. Nice dodge! Porpoise Deluxe jukes out the Q. The small little moves can sometimes make all the difference, and that half second of stepping up rather than forward means that he gets to stay alive and not have to burn any solders. Though the flash was already down from an earlier engagement, Fabby, with the pressure from that Blitzcrank hook, is able to force Doublelift to flash away. He's been having a bit of a rough time farming up here. Caitlyn versus Draven, definitely in favor of Caitlyn during the laning phase. And Porpoise Deluxe coming in for gank number 2. Equilibrium Strike from Contacts does stun up after the knockback lands. And that will be a flash burn from Nunu. And I'm very interested to see whether this is indeed an AP Nunu. We're going to be able to see after his base soon, but he might be a little bit, this is a little bit risky to stick around on this small of a hit point pool. Does get dove on under the tower, but Contracts doesn't have any mana. Flashes away. 2 minion attacks follow him, though, and 12 picks up the kill. Now Porpoise Deluxe is in the 1v2. Simon Hawks just autoing some minions so he can get that no mana spell. He has no mana, so he was just looking for his passive, auto-attacking the minions, but he didn't quite get it up in time. The net forward interrupted by a stand aside as here comes Palion behind Wolf's Claw. Gets hit up by the eye of the Arcane Eye. I forget what that ability is called, but that's not the important thing right now. The barrier is popped to keep himself alive. And we return to the bottom lane. Oh, actually, no, we go back to the mid lane. There's the Red of the Arcane. Doesn't quite have the burst that it needed. I believe one of the shots didn't connect. And in the end, Palion and Dwarf's Claw pretty much trade evenly. All summoners down, both below half hit points. Dwarf's Claw is very low on mana, and as I said, Palion does not have that problem. And he also has far superior sustain to his Xerath, as in he has sustain, and Xerath does not. Oh, Fabby turning around with an auto attacker too, as there's the Ignite actually from Labouche VB. Doublelift is going so low, he overestimated his ability to take that fight. Aframu going aggressive under the tower as well, will take a shot or two himself. Here comes 12 in from the jungle, though, might be the savior that Aframu needed. I don't know why Lelouch flashed that direction. Oh, I think he was buying time actually for Porpoise Deluxe to show up. But did not have the health that he needed to make that play work. Was trying to possibly bait them back for a bit more of a engage, try and, as I said, buy some time for Porpoise to show up. Ooh, that's done just about grazes Palion's backside. Oh, here comes Porpoise over the wall, going for the Q. It lands the knockback, the knock up. Porpoise Deluxe with a quick 1-2 punch, quite literally. Picks up a kill on Vi. 3 and 3 right now, 11.4 to 11.1k. Very even game. There's the absolute zero. Contract going to turn around with the Transcendent Blades. Half of his health gone. Simon Hawks getting a fully channeled Nunu ult. He's going to keep beating on him for these fairly inconsequential auto attacks, but they do stack up over time, and more importantly, he gets his passive up for doing them. But Contracts just has the better sustained engage, the sustained one-on-one. Palion flashes away. Porpoise Deluxe takes 2 tower shots, but not enough damage to go down as Contracts below half health against Simon Hawks here. He's just going to return to farming the minions. A gentleman's agreement between these two. Doublelift here with a build-over Peacemaker is not able to stand up to the damage output from Fabby. Nearly goes down there, but Ace in the Hole is coming out. Fabby goes down to less than 100 hit points himself. And Aframu coming off from the side with the Zephyr and an auto attack might be able to finish off this kill. There it is. The extra AD from Eye of the Storm helping out as well. Now, 12 may be looking for some sort of invade. Has the Raptor buff, so spots that he was spotted, and is going to clear out that ward. And Vi is incredibly low on health, and the red buff is up. Oh, but 12 looking to go to the top lane. Sees a low health Aurelia up past the river and wants a piece of it. Here he is. There's the Dragon's Rage kicking him back. Simon Hawks has just enough mana for an Ice Blast, but Contracts uses the Blade Surge to get some distance from Nunu, but not distance from Lee Sin. Goes down in the end. Nunu not even getting the assist in that, but that's alright. An early kill on Lee Sin. Well, indeed, 4 early kills on Lee Sin. A good place to have them. 12 doing quite well with some presence in the early game this particular match. And Lelouch has found himself up in top lane through a series of strange roams. He's up here with Fabby as well, and Simon Hawks is in a lot of trouble. Dodging in and out of the bush. There's the absolute zero. Gets instantly silenced out of it. And yeah, there is no way out of it for this lonely Yeti. Oh, here's the Draven ult. There it is. I thought he was going to try and give up the kill to the tower so that Blitzcrank would get the kill credit. Always preferable. If you're in a situation where you're going to die and Draven is one of the people that you could potentially die to, try to avoid that. Because Draven's passive works very, very well when he gets kills. Actually, it doesn't work at all for anything else when he doesn't. So, if you can avoid giving the Draven the kill, always preferable to give it to somebody else instead. Blitzcrank support, a better option than Draven. Obviously, you don't want to give up a kill to either of them in the first place, but if you have to. Oh, here's Fabby low on mana in the 1v1 with 12, and Simon Hawks has teleported behind him, and that is going to be another kill for Lee Sin. 5th one of the game. Palion getting ignited here by Lelouch VB. The only ignite on red team, so perfect man to deal with this Vladimir threat. Might be able to take him down, but Palion, oh, there's the right of the arcane, and he's CC'd in the middle of it. So Wolf's Claw picks up a kill for himself. First of the game for him. 1-1-0. Behind in CS ever since that early gank from 12 in the mid lane, which kinda decided that lane for the beginning of the game at least. Ooh, Aframu getting CC chained. Does get healed by Doublelift though, and there's the knockup on a Porpoise Deluxe, and he's built heavy damage, so he had no tank stats. As you can see here, Skirmisher's Saber with the Warrior enchantment does a lot of damage, especially when he manages to land that third proc of denting blows and break some of your armor away. But he doesn't have much health to speak of at this point, and so he goes down fairly quickly if caught out like that. Ooh, over the wall. Thankfully, 12 had kited the red buff away a little bit, so Blitzcrank didn't get to steal it. Ooh, and Doublelift actually sees him sitting in the ward. Might want to try and interrupt him again, though he used both the trap and the Build Over Peacemaker, I think, so didn't have any more tools to do it. Unless he wanted to walk in range for an auto attack. 12 in here, gonna be tossing out the Q, doesn't quite land it, so just a bit of damage from Palion as there is pressure onto the Wolf's Claw once again. This mid lane. Lots of pressure garnered, pretty much everywhere actually, aside from bottom lane. We haven't seen 12 go to the bot lane on the Lee Sin. We've only seen him try and help out Simon Hawks, who's had not the best time of the top lane, not the worst either, as we see him actually going aggressive onto contracts. The Equilibrium strikes are being, not the Equilibrium strikes, the Transcendent Blades are being popped though, and the lifesteal from that plus an auto attack or two will be enough to pretty much heal Aurelia to the same point as the Nunu, and Porpoise Deluxe is here. Denting Blows gets proc, the red buff is on Simon Hawks and burning. He does take a bite out of Gromp to get some health back though, as Palion continues with the pressure in the mid. Oh, actually, yeah, he wants the full Gromp, the entire Gromp pie, but here comes Porpoise Deluxe, and he wanted that pie, and he is very, very angry about Nunu taking it away. He's actually going to be diving under the tower. The Vault Breaker charged up, but he didn't have the kill. He did not have the damage, and Simon Hawks, after a few taunts, is going to be able to get hooked away by Blitzcrank Lelouch VB with the rocket grab, and then his ulti. Picks up a kill. And here's 12 off to the side. Wants to save this turret, but really not going to be able to. First turret of the game for Red. Looks like they're going to be adding another one to their kill list very soon. Fabby gets one in the bottom lane. And bot lane, even though I started off talking about it at the beginning of the cast, is somewhere that I haven't really been able to put as much focus on as I'd like to this game. We've seen so much more action in the rest of the map, but I digress. We'll have to get back to talking about it in general soon, because we have to talk specifically about this fight. Fabby flashing forward. One more auto attack would have done the trick, but Aframu just about gained the distance he needed. And so Doublelift protected his support and brought down the enemy AD carry. Oh, Palion face-checking into a bush with DeWolf's Claw, but that actually might be really bad for DeWolf's Claw. Goes down to half health, gets stunned up. There's the Arcanopos as well, and he's finished off a Morellonomicon, so that's a lot of power gone from this Vladimir in the 1v1s if he gets him down to that point. Lelouch VB now landing the Power Fist onto Doublelift is going to silence him, but not in time. He manages to get over the wall still, as Monsoon gets popped just as a safety precaution. Ooh, Arcanopulse nearly takes out Palion. Red of the Arcane is down already from an earlier attempt at finishing off this Vladimir. There's another Arcanopulse, gets pulled away from, but Porpoise Deluxe is here, and Palion no longer has his dodging mechanic. That'll be Vi picking up the kill, but gets kicked back into the tower. Beautiful insect from 12 knocking the enemy jungle into the tower and picking up a kill for himself. Cleanup duty. And he's trying to put those kills to as best use as he can. He's built some damage. Warrior enchantment as well, very popular on these sort of skirmishy AD jungles. And he's gone with the Sightstone. which is a good choice for Lee Sin. It not only allows for consistent ward hops. Oh, I'll get back to that in a second. Fabby has nowhere else to run. Doublelift is on a killing spree, and Contracts is probably going to be in some trouble too. Actually manages to get the shutdown. He's finished off all the pieces of Triforce, so he does have some good damage in this mid-game. That's where Aurelia is strong, and even in a 4v1 is able to turn around and get the shutdown gold, which completes the Trinity Force and probably a few other things as well, since the completion cost on Trinity Force is not very high. For those of you that do not know, I believe the completion cost for Trinity Force is 3, maybe 6 gold, something like that. Aphromoo gets knocked up in the air by Porpoise Deluxe's ult. There's the slow landing from Xerath, and Doublelift, actually the heal pops. He might be able to survive here. The red buff is burning. The ignite is dropped on Vi. Double kill from the red buff burn. Palion does get revenge. Ooh, forced to pop into the pool, and here's the ulti. Dodges 1, dodges 2, doesn't dodge the 3rd, but he didn't really need to after having happy feeded his way out of the other 2. That's going to be Palion getting out with barely any health left. But still getting out. Close ain't good enough when going for a kill. You got to take it all the way. With Vladimir, that's very hard. That is one of the powerful things about Vladimir. His mid to late game can be incredibly, incredibly obnoxious. Ooh, hook from Lelouch BB. Puts an end to that vampire. And Fabby just wants to land one more spinning axe on that turret. It's too dangerous to go that close right now. But it's so low, so red team looking to pick up their 3rd in the mid lane. The next time a minion wave even touches that thing, it's going down. Unless Janna is around to drop Eye of the Storm. Red buff going to be given over to Fabby. That is... oh, actually, no. Porpoise Deluxe still taking it. Still in that sort of early mid-game Vi power spike when Vi does indeed choose to build damage. Because if you max the denting blows, which actually, I don't know. We'll check and see whether or not Porpoise has done that. Let's give it a look. No, it looks like Vault Breaker is what was maxed first, which is also a solid choice. Gives more mobility and is an AoE. So while Excessive Force would have been better in general for wave clear, for jungle clear, it is... Fabby goes down. Gets kicked back into the team all alone in the mid lane. Ooh, and Doublelift is in some trouble as well. Contract going to be leaping in. Very nice use of the Aurelia ult there. As I've said a good few times in a good few casts, it's always the little things that can really add up into making you quite a good player. As Palion gets knocked up into the air, there's the hook, gets dodged away from the pool. Right of the Arcane comes out and he dodges, again, the first 2, but not the 3rd, but again, it's not really imperative to dodge the 3rd if you dodge the first 2 already. And you have that much health to work with. But as I was saying, it's the little things that can really matter in this level of League of Legends gameplay, and I would just like to highlight exactly what was done there by that Aurelia play if you guys didn't see it. The ulti, Transcendent Blades, brought one of the minions in the back of the wave low enough so that when she Blade Surged forward, she was actually able to get the reset on her Q, so continue on towards Doublelift as well after that. 12 Moon goes down as we have a team fight in the mid lane. Palion popping into the pool to try and get some health back is just gonna be delaying the inevitable. As Contracts picks up a double kill, and this Aurelia is starting to run rampant. This is the time of the game where Aurelia does indeed run rampant, by the way. That Triforce completed 18, maybe 19 minutes in. Ooh, Contracts turning around, going for the engage. Doublelift gets stunned up as there's the damage from Xerath from the back line as well. But Doublelift has not really been brought down very low. Gets to half health, and Fabby flashes in for the axe. He is going aggressive after that stun lands. Aphromoo popping his ulti to keep Doublelift alive as the Arcane Pulse does some good damage, but nobody from blue team's going down. Finally, a beautiful hook from Lelouch BB will seal the deal for Doublelift. Aphromoo gonna be shot out by the first 2 shots of Red of the Arcane, and Dwarf's Claw doesn't quite land the 3rd, but goes the other way as well. If you land the first 2, sometimes you don't need the 3rd, and he's going to be picking up a kill for himself. Overall there, that was just a bit of a, I would have to say, mismanaged focus from blue. They didn't quite bring anyone down over on the side of red. Perhaps if they had been able to CC out one target, they would have been able to finish off that target. But as I said earlier, they don't have a ton of hard single target CC. They have a lot of soft, well, not even a lot. They have Nunu for soft AoE CC, and they have Janna for disengage. And then they don't have any hard single target CC, aside maybe from an insect kick with that Dragon's Rage on Lee Sin, but that is not reliable. Ooh, here's Fabby going to be bursted down nearly instantly, and while they don't have a ton of CC, they do have a lot of damage. Contracts is there for the follow-up kill, but goes down himself to the damage from Vladimir. As Palion gets that shutdown gold, and I mean, it's really a toss-up, because it's a battle of huge damage versus huge CC, with some good damage. I mean, they have a Draven and a Xerath. That is a lot of solid damage, especially going towards the late game with the Draven. Ooh, Porpoise Lux might be in some trouble over the wall here. The Vaultbreaker got interrupted by Aftermoon, but they don't have much to follow it up with, and so the Wolf's Claw is going to chunk away that Janna's health. Doublelift does manage to take down the turret while that distraction is going on, and here's the ulti from Xerath, clearing out some minions and taking Doublelift down to half. Lelouch BB off to the side, looking for a hook. He's hit a few good ones this game. If he can follow it up with another one right here, that pick might actually make all the difference, because Doublelift and Aftermoon are both already low. Relatively low. Aftermoon is decidedly low, and Doublelift is low enough that some burst could take him down. There's the cupcake, though. Lelouch just himself, he doesn't even have any follow-up, nearly brings down Aftermoon, but nearly is not enough. Build-over Peacemaker will prove his doom. As Porpoise Deluxe is forced to, well, I thought maybe he was going to run away, but he turns around onto Palion. The burst onto Vladimir in the beginning of this fight is going to mean he's going to have to use everything just to try and escape, and so that is a double kill for Porpoise. I mean, sorry, not Porpoise, Contracts. Engaged by Porpoise. As Lee Sin is forced to use his ult defensively. And they just have no way to stop this Vi and this Aurelia from getting to the backlines. I mean, okay, they have Janna. I keep somehow neglecting Aftermoon's Janna when I talk about these two team comps vying off against one another. But that's because it isn't enough. Janna would be enough if they only had the Vi, or if they only had the Aurelia. But it's not enough with both. Because you can only monsoon once, and Porpoise and Contracts are going to be able to leap to the back line twice, respectively. 3 times even, if you count Vi going in with Q and then going in again with ult if she gets knocked away. They have only enough CC, only enough control in a fight to be able to either disengage or engage. They can either have 12-un go in and kick somebody back into their team, and then use the Nunu ult perhaps aggressively in the middle of the enemy team or something like that. Or they can keep 12-un to the backside, use that Dragon's Rage as another disengage tool, and then hope that the Janna is enough for whatever's left. I really don't think that they can have it both ways, and so if a team fight extends for any period of time, it's not decided right at the beginning, it is going to go in favor of Red Team. Aftermoon getting ignited, there's the ult from Fabby. Whirling Death comes in. And, well, he does go down to Simon Hawks. This is a 1-for-1 trade so far, but Red Team definitely has momentum in this fight. That is Simon Hawks getting hit up by the Viol. Beautiful hook again! Lelouch, rather, is just landing so many gorgeous Blitzcrank hooks, one after another, onto exactly the targets he needs to hit. That was Doublelift getting pulled into his doom there. That might actually be Baron. The focus of Red Team right now. And this game seems to be, the later it goes, it seems to be going more and more in favor of Red. I'd have to say just due to comp. I mean, I don't know what I can say that I haven't already hit on before. This is, well, actually, I can go back to the Vladimir mid and point out another few reasons why perhaps you don't see the Vlad. This is one of them. He provides a lot of damage in the late game, and he's very, very hard to kill. But they don't really have to kill him. He doesn't have enough CC to hold on to the Draven, and besides, Fabby is playing so incredibly aggressively that he's going down in the beginning of these fights anyways. Fabby isn't the big deal in these fights. It's the 9 and 4 Aurelia. Not to disparage Fabby. His Draven play is quite good the majority of the time, and he's been playing well for how aggressively he's been playing, but he is not the cornerstone of Red Team's comp. The backup damage from Xerath, which Vladimir just can't touch. Palion, unless there's a huge mistake made, is not going to be getting next to Xerath, getting in range to actually damage him. Unless, as I said, there's a big mistake made, and in that case, well, Red Team already lost the fight because of that, not because of the comp. And 2, his AD carry, his support, his team is going to die while he attempts to make some kind of play in the backline of the enemy team or something like that. I would have much rather seen some if he was going for supplemental damage or something like that, or much rather supplemental AoE damage, I would have much rather seen maybe an Orianna. We haven't seen too much of her recently. She's actually somewhat fallen out of the meta, which I think is one of the few times I've been able to say that. Orianna has been kind of a staple of League of Legends for seasons upon seasons now, since I began playing the game. Ooh, Simon Hawk's going very, very low. There it is. DeWolf's Claws on a rampage. He's been picking up kill after kill with the damage from the backline. He's been at no threat at all. Blue team has nothing that can get to him. As you see right now, he's still got a blue buff ticking, so mana isn't a problem. His health is full. He got 2 kills there, and he didn't risk a single hit point. Not a single hit point. He got knocked up by a Jana Tornado. I think that's the worst of what's happened to him this entire team fight. Pretty sure the only reason Fabby has 8 deaths is because he's been playing the signature Fabby playstyle of run at the enemy team and be as aggressive as possible. Like a few team fights ago, we saw him flash in onto the enemy AD carry. That's going to be an inhibitor down in the bottom lane, going down. And Red Team has this one in their grasp. This game is theirs to lose at this point. There has to be some serious mistakes in a team fight for them to actually give it up, especially if DeWolf's Claw can keep landing rotations like that. That was the perfect Xerath rotation minus the ult. Land the stun, land everything else point blank on the very edge of its range, and then walk away. With absolutely no trade potential from the other side. Doublelift getting stunned up there. Contracts kills him within the duration of the Equilibrium Strike, and a max range hook onto Aphromoo forces his flash away over the wall. It doesn't hurt that Lelouch has been landing some very, very nice hooks this game. Oh, it looks like he's zooming in for another one here. There it is. Aphromoo getting hit up by the stand aside rather, is going to be knocked to the side. There is 12 getting knocked up in the air. Palion comes out of the zone. He is only in time to do... Actually, he does some great damage to Fabby, but Contracts is dominating. And as I said, Fabby, despite being the AD carry for his team, is really not the big focus for Blue. Contracts is the one who's making all of this havoc. And he's unstoppable as well. He's got so much tankiness under his belt, and then that Triforce means that he can burst down pretty much anybody. He's godlike at this point. That is an accurate description. Doublelift taking chunks from the Xerath as well. There he goes down below half. Contract's going to be coming in, lands the Equilibrium Strike, but doesn't have enough mana to follow it up with much. But the Wolf's Claw, he's around. Dominating performance from him this game, I would have to say. That'll be the Nexus turrets under fire. Via split pushing top, perhaps a little bit of an unnecessary split push, to be perfectly honest, since her team is just taking everything out in the enemy base. Contracts' legendary 12 gets caught up by another hook. Or actually, no, I believe he went in. Previous death was another hook. Lelouch has been landing these over and over again. And this is going to be Red Team taking chunks out of the last remaining Nexus turret. Simon Hawks gets hooked in. What was I just talking about? Those beautiful Blitzcrank hooks. Max range, though. Simon Hawk's not exactly the target that they wanted. Still, though, second Nexus turret goes down. This is pretty much a lost game for Blue Team. And, okay, well, it looks like it's not only LoL Replay that's been having those issues. Unable to download spectator data. The game will now exit, however. I think we know who won that particular game. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Octavian. I apologize for these abrupt, sliced-off endings. I'm not doing that on purpose, I promise. Anyways, I'm Octavian. I'll see you next time.